Christian Men Unscripted. I'm here. I'm Alan Underwood. I'm here with Seth Lazan and John Harney. We're talking Christmas stories. We're talking, I don't know, John wants to make fun of me for something, but I also want to give a shout out real quick. Okay. My son graduated college.
Oh, wow.
It was awesome.
Congratulations, AJ. That is a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, he got his degree in accounting from Lee Business School. It's funny is because I was thinking about the journey that he was on, and he's going to get his CCW. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you why. Well, first of all, being a police officer, you know, I carry CCW, you do. But he, poor kid, he went to Lee Business School. He was on his way to school when that active shooter happened, and his professor was one of the ones that were shot and killed, which sucked. But he wasn't there; he was on his way. But it was his professor. Then he was doing a internship, as we probably talked about it on the podcast years ago. But we have new listeners. He was doing an internship for accounting at Reuben Brown internship, and on the floor above him there was another shooting while he was doing the internship, and he called me both times. He's like, "Dad, there's a active shooter on campus at UNLV." I'm like, "I don't know, I haven't heard." And I look, I'm like, "Oh yeah, it is, don't go." And then we found out it was a professor, and then he called me again. He goes, "I'm locked down in this building. There's an active shooter on the floor above us." I'm like, "Get out of here, kid. You're out of your mind. There's no active shooter. You're not involved in 2 active shooters in less than a year." And obviously it was a guy who was upset with his wife and ended up with it. At the time, he was locked down. They had police surround the building. So he's like, "I think I'm going to get my CCW."
Yeah.
So I'm taking him to go get a firearm and train with it. And so he feels protected. So that's what I'm getting for his graduation firearm. I don't know if that's a good graduation gift or not, but
I think it is. I think how the Colonel pointed that out, Colonel Grossman, when we had him on several weeks ago or months ago now. It's so funny. Hey, Merry Christmas. It's the Christmas season. I'd like to jump into that. But there's definitely nothing wrong with.
Merry
in fact,
Christmas.
it's a good thing for
Merry
people.
Merry Christmas. There's a lot of shooting.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yay. That does. What a sucky topic. But at the same time, listen, being responsible, and for him to have that ability and opportunity, because unfortunately, let's segue into that one. Why did Jesus even come? Because we're a society, a lost and dying world of people with sin, and sin is consistently out there, and that's why Jesus came. We always picture the cute little baby, but he came with that mission to go to the cross to redeem us because we're so sinful. We're so sinful and degraded as a society that we got to get our kids guns for graduation gifts so they can be protected from all the other wicked sinners. So there you go. I feel like it all ties together. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Being involved as a police officer for 23 years, he's been in as many shootings as I've been around.
Dude, it's crazy. But I mean, it's a good
8-month period.
It's a good thing to be a responsible citizen who can actually maybe help each other, or at least protect yourself to get out of a bad situation. But boy, to be able to stop someone from doing terrible things to other people, that's a responsible person.
Yeah, but being so young, I worry that, you know, we have to go out, we have to work with him. You know, I don't want him to clean his gun and shoot himself, or pull his gun out and shoot him in the leg.
Well, or by the way,
give him a tourniquet as well.
But also to know when, why, and what circumstance. Are you mature enough to not just get frustrated and go after somebody because you have a gun? So now you want to be the big tough guy.
He asked me yesterday. He was like, "Well, what if somebody's coming up in my car and they're yelling at me and stuff?" I'm like, "No, you know, you can't.
No weapon in their hand, nothing like that.
Just yelling at you. Now, if they start taking a crowbar to your window, man, different story. But yeah, no, you're locked in your car. You're fine.
Right.
Leave.
And it's like
just leave. There's no need for road rage.
And if you're not an engager, then at a minimum, use that as a tool to facilitate your own escape, or maybe others' escape. If that's, you don't have to play the hero. I used to kind of say that to, I think it was like my mother-in-law and stuff, who always had a gun too. But I was like, if you're so terrified yourself, you don't have to play the hero. I pray that you would be the hero. I really do, to stop other people from being hurt. But if it's just like, man, I'm just personally under attack, then if that's how you kind of have to use something like that to engage, to be able to kind of get yourself out of there, get out of there. You know what I mean?
I saw a video on probably YouTube where a guy's got his CCWs in his truck and he's got his gun in his lap. Another guy gets out of his car, holding his gun in his hand, walking towards the guy with the car. The guy in the truck didn't show him the gun. The guy never pointed the gun at him, but I mean, literally, he could have shot that man as he's walking up to his car, and he had the self-control not to do it. So I thought it was really good, but it's also like, those incidents are crazy. There's no need for any of that.
No.
As I learned.
Yeah. Well, it is crazy. You see a lot of that, and there's a lot of just this tension between humanity always, and hecticness. And now we sort of were talking about this. It's funny that it's the Christmas season, and again, this episode should be Christmas Eve, but here we are just a few days before all of this anyways, as we're recording. But I have consistently, like lately, been in this sense of being anxious and like seeing things seem chaotic. And so I'm on the phone with Alan the other day, Seth, checking in on something. I don't even know what. Yeah. And I was like, God, it just feels so hectic. I was like stressed. I was trying to put together the messages as a pastor of a church, getting ready to, leading up to talking about Christmas. Of course, the Christmas story, but also the depth of all of this. And I'm like, God, my wife and I were sitting at an intersection, and it's like 3 or 4 different cars, 3 actually, ran the red light from not the same one. Like this one going this way, then we got stuck because so many cars were in this parking lot of these shopping centers. Then another car runs the red light. Then shortly thereafter, another at a different. I'm like, holy cow! It just felt dangerous, felt hectic. So I'm kind of telling Alan about this, and then he's like, I had to almost beat up this teenage kid.
No, I didn't. He wasn't a teenager. He was a hippie. hipster.
But he's like saying the same thing. Like it's so hectic that he himself is having to take matters into his own hand and wave his gun out of his window and chase people down.
Not at all. No, man. Listen, I'm at fault for getting mad. Like I think that getting angry is not a good trait. But I'm in the turn lane and I got to get to this gas station, which is not right there. But there's a car beside me. I'm like, okay, I'm in the wrong turn lane. So I'm going to speed up and then get over. So the light turns green. I speed up and I'm looking. I can see that I'm pretty far ahead of this car now. So I get my turn signal on and I get over. And then I can see him in my rearview mirror, gun it, get up next to me, honk his horn, hold on his horn, which really makes me mad. I don't care if you want to go beep, beep. But he's like holding on his horn. And then he flips me off. I was like, oh, wow. So instead of turning in, I decided to not turn in and go behind him. And then I get beside him and I look at him and I was like, hey, I was looking. I wasn't yelling. I was like, roll your window down. I was going to tell him nicely that you are in the wrong. I did not cut you off. You sped up. But he won't look at me. So then he turns into this building. So I've turned in with him and I'm waiting for him to park. So I wait for him to park. And I wasn't like, I get out, beat him up or anything. Because I could tell he was kind of like scared or not scared. I don't know what it was. But I mean, don't be scared if you're going to flip somebody off and hold on your horn. Then I'm like, wait a minute. He might be calling the police on me. So I'm like, forget it. And I leave. And as I'm leaving, I see him get out of his car, take his little teeny weeny beanie that he had on, throw it in his passenger seat, take his jacket off, and run into some store. I was like, oh man, I didn't mean to scare the kid. I wasn't even mad at the time when I went behind him, but I'm thinking he's probably thinking I'm gonna shoot him or something. I'm like, oh no, this is wrong. I was 100% wrong. I should have just ignored it and went in my gas station. So 100% wrong. If you're out there, I apologize. I was in my son's car, so he'll never know who I am.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So now when your son drives around this kid, he's gonna finally eat that can of spinach like Popeye and get the gumption, and then he's gonna see your son in the car and be like, "Oh, I was afraid of that."
No, he saw me. He looked at me, and then he looked away, and he wouldn't look back again. And I was like, "Man, hey, you were wrong. You don't need to lay on your horn and flip me off because I was way ahead of you." And he gunned it to get up to me, so I know for a fact. So, but still, I should have just went about my day.
Interesting though. It's like if you have the guts to do that, like. It's like
I'm still wrong. You gotta ignore that stuff because it could go wrong. I don't know. I didn't know who he was. I could have pulled up next to him and he could have shot me. So that was just dumb.
Yeah.
But like when you hold on the horn, it's like all of a sudden I see red. I'm like, you can't just hold the horn down.
And it's funny though, right? Because the road rage thing, not to really go into that topic, but it is kind of like that Christmas season if you've experienced that. My wife was sharing a story as well. She was at downtown Summerlin, and there's like a car backing up because they passed an open spot, right? But there's 3 cars behind them. So those 3 cars, they can't go. So this person now wants a spot. So my wife is like, I'm just witnessing all this. Like, I don't care. I'm just trying to get out of there. Yeah. She's like, but the car backing up almost hits the car. So this person starts honking because they can't go anywhere because they have cars behind them. But this person now wants a spot that they passed, but there's 3 people behind them that also want it.
You can't do that.
And she's like, one of them's getting out of the car and they're filming on their phone and they're cussing and yelling at each other, but nobody can go anywhere. So it's like, it's not really anyone's fault. It's just the situation.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I will say for me, as we pulled in, I was like hoping he would pull into a spot, and I was gonna be nice. I wasn't that angry. I was like
beating up a teenager. Got it?
No, he was not a teenager. He's probably in his 30s. 30-year-olds. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. He was probably in his 20s, probably. But I was like, oh man, he probably thinks I'm really angry because I wasn't like cursing or flipping him off. I was just like, you were in the wrong, and I was very mad about the holding the horn and flipping me off. But then I'm like, oh, he looks pretty scared, so I'm gonna leave. Yeah.
Maybe he learned his lesson. Like, I shouldn't flip off people and hold on the horn. You know.
No, I should be able to ignore that and just pull into the gas station.
Yeah, but you weren't mad. But there are people who would get angry and you know. So that for him, it's a good thing. Like, oh, you know, this is a nice police officer.
He don't know that. He still probably thinks that, I mean, this guy was going to kill me.
Yeah.
And I'm not some big...
He's probably telling stories
guy
like, I almost got killed. I flipped off some old man. And
Santa, some crazy Santa-looking guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is the Christmas season, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
I feel bad.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Maybe he'll never do it again. Maybe that was the lesson he needed.
Yeah.
You saved him from being killed in the future because he would do it again, and some guy would just shoot him.
Yeah, but you guys are just like saying I'm doing right, but I feel like I did 100% wrong. I should just went and got. I was just trying to get an energy drink.
Yeah, well, you know, it's funny. It's a funny story, you know. And there's times when things we do wrong or can have a positive impact.
Our God can use all things.
Yeah, exactly.
It had a positive impact on me because I was like, "Don't do that again."
Yeah, right.
Because and on my part, like I said it a couple minutes ago. I don't know who's in that car in front of me. Although he was in like a Kia Sonata, I was like,
you could guess.
Yeah. If it was like a big F-350, I would have just went into the gas station.
Yeah. See, honestly, driving the big truck is a safe factor to be in and of itself. Cruising around in a little Toyota, little Prius.
Yeah, I was in my son's Toyota Corolla, so that's probably why he felt safe to do that.
There you go.
Yeah.
See what
I
I'm
wasn't
saying?
in my sweet Toyota Tacoma.
Yeah, I don't know if those are better or not, if I'm being honest. Those are the mid level, like maybe not.
Those are the best trucks, man. I know it's not American made, but mine was made in Texas, so I guess it is kind of
American made. Yeah, that's fine. Just not American owned or whatever, but nothing is anymore.
But they last forever. How's your truck doing?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, well, I wanted to point out something. These Christmas sweaters you guys have, there's a Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, of course
you really are
there.
a fan.
Yes, he is.
Our last episode, we talked about how he's been a diehard Cleveland Browns fan since the beginning of time.
We really talked about how that's the cross he bears. That is his witness to the world.
Thorn in the side.
The thorn in his side as a disciple of Christ. That's how he shares Jesus with the world, is by living it out as a Browns fan. What an example. What an example.
Well, the good thing about this year is, like every year when they're bad, the best part of the year is draft. When the draft comes, I'm like, we got the number one pick. Let's get something.
You get the number one again. Here we go.
Let's do
the last 15 years.
This strategy is a very long-term strategy, dude. Long-term strategy.
We've talked about that last time. What are we talking about, Joe?
Well, you brought up my truck. Go ahead, Seth. I'm sorry.
I wanted to point out your Christmas sweater because there's a fun story. That's forever old.
Okay.
Almost older than I am.
Just real fast. This Christmas sweater. Nowadays, see how you can get that cool. By the way, I do love that Cleveland Brown sweater because it has the little lights and stuff.
Yeah.
The sweater I'm wearing is 20 plus years old, maybe almost 22 or something like that. And it's from when the ugly Christmas sweater parties and things were like a real thing. You couldn't just get in. They didn't have like at Walmart a rack of ugly Christmas sweaters intentionally being ugly Christmas sweaters. Mm-hmm. This was an actual like grandma sweater that my wife embellished, and everyone for 20 something years borrowed to go to all these Christmas parties. Because ugly Christmas sweaters, the tradition was, it was funny because you're making fun of your grandma's hilarious or your mom's hilarious Christmas sweater.
Yeah.
But nowadays, you just get them, right? Now that's like a thing. Yeah. It has been for 10 years.
There's no history behind it. You're not.
But this was a real grandma sweater that my wife sewed bells and lights and things, but now it's raggedy. So now it's a legit ugly Christmas sweater just because of the fact that it's 20-something years old and it's been borrowed by countless human beings for 20 years of Christmas parties. So anyway, it's still my favorite though. I like it because it's a vest. I can put it on and off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway,
I
got a really sweet photo in it many years ago. I'll have to share. It's where I was singing Christmas carols, and it was good. It was good. I'll share it.
It's all you were wearing.
It's almost all I was almost.
So I really like this Christmas episode. Is this talking about us getting angry at everything? But your Christmas sweater stories are better.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Well, let's go back to the anger thing real fast for the listeners. Here's why. I also
really don't know if these cameras are recording, so it might just be audio this week.
That's okay. That'll be great. Then we can do some photos. Hey, here, Seth, do a selfie. Yeah. So, real fast for the listeners, I know now it's Christmas Eve. We have to remember, like, I'm sitting here trying to put together messages for, I can't even talk and pose. I'm sitting here trying to put together messages for church and for Christmas service and things like that. Later this evening, as far as Christmas Eve, we're doing a Christmas Eve service. But I myself have been going through so many things, right? Truck broke down a couple times, got a few thousand invested in it now, and it's still having issues. You're exactly right, I guess. I know I got this Ford. I love the truck, except for it's constantly having problems, so there you go.
I mean, I wouldn't get a Ford unless it's a Raptor. It's my favorite vehicle. That's my dream vehicle that I'll never be able to afford.
They are nice.
If somebody wants to donate one.
Yeah, they are nice. Well, then my pool, of course, I told you I had a $2,000 water bill, and then now we're digging a hole, and they're like, it's going to be like $2,000 to fix it.
Your pool.
Dude. Okay, we had a Christmas party. We all get hectic. I'm trying to share this.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this and I'm like, man, everywhere we go, we talked about the road rage, right? We all, and traffic and the malls and just Walmart, and which, by the way, any time of the year I go to Walmart and I always leave, I'm like, right?
Walmart and Costco.
Yeah, dude. But I kind of like Costco because I like their stuff better than Walmart. But anyway, the point is this.
Yeah, I just don't like their parking lot.
Yeah, the point is this. It feels so crazy, so hectic. And then we had this party. Like, who's hosting, who's bringing, who's doing, right, all this stuff.
Same,
and then
ditto.
We had this party at our house for the church, by the way, which was wonderful. But it was also kind of like, hey, the pastor has to have a party at his house, right? So then I'm like, oh my gosh, we have so much going on. Okay, let's squeeze it in here. It was wonderful. And I even shared with the people at the party, remember, we're called to gather together more as the day approaches. We know the second coming of Christ. Christmas is the first coming of Jesus to redeem us. We look forward to the second coming, right? Or at least we believe in Jesus so we get to go to heaven when we die, or we pray he just returns. But all this hecticness, we had this party at my house after, dude, it's been so hectic. We're standing in the kitchen, my wife and kids and I kind of shared this, guys, when I first walked in to see you today, because I was like, I'm so frustrated with all these things. My truck making noises again and all this. All of a sudden, my wife and my son are like, is the microwave on fire? I was like, wait, what? I look over, this is in the kitchen. And I'm like, yes, the microwave is on fire. Nothing was in it. No one had heated anything in it. It's just an empty microwave. And it's on fire inside. And I'm like, what is happening? So I go over, I open the door, which, by the way, if stuff's on fire, I think you're supposed to not open the door and give it air, But I opened, there was a little tiny fire, though, like the size of your
There's a movie about it, Backdraft.
Yeah, Backdraft.
Yep.
But I opened the door real quick, and I'm like, oh my God, there's like, the microwave is like on, even with the door open. Something's happening in it, in the wall of it. It's not like in the, where you would put your food. It's like in the wall. There's those little holes in the sides. It's it's on fire behind it. So I close it again because I'm like, okay, that's not good to open it.
Just close it and go about your business. Be like, I don't want to deal with this.
Yeah, I'm going to bed. That's how I wanted to do. So then I got to go unplug the microwave. Point is, you guys, like literally, that's not even a joke. Like truck's bad. Alan's getting in road rage. I'm going places. Everything's falling apart. My microwave is spontaneously combusting, and I'm like, Merry Christmas! What is happening? And then we have to remember, man, that you said it. Actually, Seth, we pray before every episode, and Seth prayed before we recorded, and you prayed that even John, because you were praying for me, thank you, because I shared like, oh my God, everything's so hectic. Even I'll recognize that everything is like a withering grass, like life is a vapor, that word, and like this, it's all going to pass, but the only thing that matters is the God of all creation came in, became a human, the incarnation, we call it, became a human with a purpose to manifest himself to us so we can know who God is. All those acts of kindness and compassion and mercy and ministering to the marginalized that we see in Jesus in his life.
I was going to minister to that kid.
Yeah, that's what you're doing. But that's what he's here for. That's what he came for, right? And then, but ultimately, which includes showing how our God is, to go to a cross and die for us and redeem. And you have to like, how do I put that in perspective? It's so big compared to my truck falling apart, my pool falling apart, Alan beating poor teenagers that are little kids all over the street that are just trying to. Angry. And then all these things are happening. My microwave is catching on fire.
That's weird.
My dog has a terrible haircut, by the way. I mean, just you name it. But then I have to realize, man, God literally manifested himself in the creator of all things became dependent as a baby on his own creatures, on his own creation. For us, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah,
but
because we got to wrap up.
Yeah, well, I mean, those are really great points. But it just kind of reminded me, like, how do you look at the things of this world, like a home, Christmas presents, and enjoy them while not holding on too tightly to them, because that's the challenge, is because you have these fun things that you enjoy, and it's so easy for them to become things that you grasp and hold on to. And I'm reminded of Philippians, where Paul says that Jesus did not count equality with God something to be grasped. He wasn't grasping it and holding on to it tightly. He let it go, not because he wasn't equal, but because he was confident in who he was as a son of God. He didn't, like, for us, if we have something going on, we're like, well, we want to grasp at it and make sure it doesn't get out of control. But I just think about how Jesus didn't grasp it, but he freely laid down his life for us by coming initially in the Advent season, which is the first coming. We celebrate the first coming of Jesus. And I just think about how, for me, oftentimes I'm grasping at things. And I think what look at stuff in my house, and I think, if I had to sell that, like, would I be okay with it if I had to get rid of these things? Nothing. I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm just looking. I'm just trying to preemptively can I get rid of these things?
I need a recliner.
And I don't have a recliner. See, I've got one couch that's in my apartment.
I'm sorry. So. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's good. But if you have a recliner and you want to give it to me,
I don't know if you recall, Alan. We moved him in, and we were both like, "Wow, we have 1.5 truck bed full of stuff, and you're 100%. This is everything.
Tiny home.
This is everything. I love that, by the way.
Yeah. It's easy to accumulate things. Though,
I was going to say, I'm sure you've added. We all do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But the thing is because for our kids, especially to teach them, it's like where they got a bunch of toys, and it's really hard for them to get rid of toys. It's really hard for them to be like, I don't play with this right now, but I really like it. And it's like, okay, but you just said you don't play with it. For them to not grasp at the things that they have as if it's theirs to grasp. But as a gift from God, and I tell my church every week when I could announce, hey, you can give this, and I say, we know that everything we have, our breath, our skills, our homes, everything is a gift from God, and so we want to honor God by giving back the things that He's given us, and that's something that we're trying to teach our kids this Christmas season. We have this thing called the Giving Manger, and so it's like
the church.
It's a book. What? Oh, no, we do, my kids. So the church, I just tell the church about giving, and it's a gift from God.
Yeah.
Okay, Giving Manger, real quick.
And then Giving Manger is the last thing, at our house. So it's a small little thing, and the idea is there's straw.
We're the worst, Alan. We like to make fun of it, but we are the worst, dude.
No,
Tell us what we screwed up on. My 21-year-old kids, now I'm going to try to make them do this. What is this?
So there's this little wooden manger, and there's a book with it, and it's, the story of this family. They don't have money, but this dad carves toys for his kids. Well, this year he's like, I'm going to give you a present the first day of Christmas, the Advent season, and he gives them a little manger with straw, and they're upset about it. But the idea behind the straw is every time they serve someone, that they put a straw in the manger, as a reminder that the gift of Jesus, his service to us through his birth and death and resurrection, is the ultimate gift. And so we want to serve and love people, and each time we do that, we want to honor Jesus by putting a straw in the manger, and so that's what we've been doing, is trying to encourage our kids to know the importance of serving rather than receiving in this Christmas season, because that's oftentimes what our focus is grasping and holding on to our things, and so that's what I want to make sure that I'm not doing, is grasping and holding on, and I want to be more generous with my time, my energy, my breath, and my money.
You're a perfect man. Really good. My kids, remember when kids had toys,
I want to make a fart noise when I was, because that's, you know what I mean? Because that's like, I'm like, here, a total fail on that one.
I remember, real quick, we'll finish up, but my kids, when we had their rooms, all the toys, I'm like, hey, we're going to clean your rooms out, donate these toys, and they'd come back with McDonald's Happy Meal toys. I'm like,
all the crappiest stuff.
Anyway.
Don't we all do that?
Finish on that?
No, just, you know what? It's amazing, man. The greatest gift of all of humanity, this greatest birthday that we celebrate. We can argue about the dates, and people try to do all this. The reality is, look around. All this fun stuff really is just a reminder that we're celebrating the greatest gift of humanity, that God Himself did everything for us because He Himself wants a relationship with us, and that's a fascinating and wonderful story in and of itself.
Yeah,
we're blessed by it. Yeah.
Amen.
All right, we're going to finish up on that. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Be blessed.